Hey everyone, Noir here. Let's get into today's Reddit story. I never thought a few coworkers could destroy a 5-year relationship. But one night, the woman I planned to marry ended everything because they convinced her I wasn't good enough for her. Just 4 hours later, she was desperately begging me to take her back. I had been with my girlfriend Kate for 5 years, although we had dated on and off for 2 years before making things official. We grew up together. We went to each other's prom and school dances, supported one another through difficult times, and shared many of our first experiences. I always felt like Kate was out of my league, so I did everything I could to make her feel loved and secure. I was completely in love with her and wanted to spend my future with her. After high school, I went to college and earned a double major while Kate attended cosmetology school. We planned to move in together within a few months and had already talked many times about getting married and having children. Over the last few months, she kept telling me about comments from her coworkers. They constantly asked why she was with me, said I wasn't in her league, and encouraged her to go out with them to meet other men. Every time I asked Kate what she thought, she told me she loved me, ignored their comments, and asked them to stop. Even so, they never stopped bringing it up. Our relationship had always been based on honesty. We talked through every problem and never had any major issues. Our arguments were usually about small things like movies, television shows, anime, or food. She never cheated, never hid anything from me, and there were no emotional affairs, secret social media accounts, or hidden locations. All of these problems only started after she began working at that salon. A few nights ago, we had what felt like a great date. Everything seemed completely normal. But when I dropped her off at home, she suddenly admitted she had been having doubts about our relationship and wanted to break up. I was completely shocked and couldn't even respond. I just walked away. Later, she admitted in a message that her coworkers had pushed her into questioning our relationship. Less than 4 hours later, she started calling and texting me non-stop. She apologized repeatedly, said she loved me, admitted she had been stupid for listening to her new friends, and begged me to forgive her. She even promised to quit her job, find another one, and completely cut off those coworkers. I didn't answer. I was torn because I still loved her. I already had an engagement ring being made for her and had been saving money so we could buy a house together. About 85% of our friends were mutual friends, so almost everyone quickly found out about the breakup. From the messages I received, it seemed Kate had told everyone the truth, that her coworkers made her insecure about our relationship, and she foolishly listened to them. Her parents also reached out asking what had happened. We had always been close, but I stayed completely silent. Since I work remotely, I grabbed my laptop, left my apartment, and stayed somewhere else while trying to clear my head. I honestly felt lost and had no idea what I had done wrong or what I was supposed to do next. After I shared my story, my boss contacted me asking for an urgent Zoom meeting. When I joined the call, 2 police officers were standing behind him. Someone had requested a wellness check because nobody had been able to reach me. They checked my apartment and my workplace before my boss explained I was working remotely. I told them I was fine and had simply turned off my phone because of everything that had happened. The next day, while checking my missed calls, I got a voicemail saying my engagement ring was ready to be picked up. That message hurt more than I expected. By Friday, I had 61 missed calls, 14 voicemails, and 417 text messages. I sent everyone the same message saying I was safe but needed time and space. I picked up the ring since it had already been paid for, placed it in the box I had made for it, and then drove to Kate's parents' house. As soon as I arrived, Kate ran outside crying and hugged me. I accepted the hug, but it wasn't the same as before. Then she tried to kiss me, and I turned my head away. We went inside, sat together in silence for almost 10 minutes, and finally Kate broke down crying. Kate finally apologized, and all I could say was, "Okay." I asked her what she had told everyone. She said she told them the truth. Then I asked why the police had been sent to check on me. She explained that she never called them. After our friends realized no one had heard from me for more than 24 hours, they became worried and requested a wellness check. She admitted that after I walked away, I looked completely broken. I went through several questions I had written down. First, I asked why she had actually broken up with me. She struggled to give a clear answer. She said her coworkers kept criticizing me every day until they eventually made her question our relationship. I asked why she didn't set stronger boundaries or report their behavior. She claimed she tried, but they would stop for a day or two before starting all over again. Then I asked if she truly valued me and everything we had built together. She immediately said yes. My next question was simple. If you believed in us, why let complete strangers decide the future of our relationship? She apologized again and admitted it was a stupid mistake. I wanted to know how her coworkers even knew so much about me. She explained they overheard her talking with customers and friends about our dates, birthdays, vacations, and everyday life. Over time, they learned enough to constantly comment on our relationship. I asked whether she actually believed they were right. She quietly said no. So why did you leave me? She looked down and admitted she didn't have an answer. I asked the question that had been eating at me. Was there someone else? She immediately denied it. She insisted she had never cheated, never been tempted, and even offered me her phone to prove it. I refused to look through it. Finally, I told her exactly how I felt. Sorry isn't enough anymore. If you really want this relationship, you'll have to earn back my trust. I don't care that your coworkers talked about us. What hurts is that you listened to them. You kept hearing their opinions until they became more important than your own. That makes me feel like part of you believed them. That's what destroyed my trust. Now I'll always wonder if the next group of people you meet can convince you to leave me again. She asked why I had simply walked away that night. I told her the truth. In just 2 sentences, you destroyed the future I thought we were building. Everything I had been working toward suddenly disappeared. She broke down, crying even harder. Then I made a decision I instantly regretted. I reached into my bag and pulled out a wooden box I had made myself. I asked if she knew I had been planning to propose. She quietly said no. I pressed the button on the box. The lid slowly opened, lights came on, and the words, "Will you be my life partner?" appeared inside. The ring was custom-made with both of our birthstones forming a heart, surrounded by small diamonds. Our initials and anniversary date were engraved inside, and it had even been designed so more stones could be added someday for future children. Kate completely lost it. She cried harder than ever. Her mother started crying too, while her father looked furious, not at me, but at everything that had happened. They both commented on how beautiful the ring and box were. I looked at Kate and quietly told her that the future I had planned no longer existed. Then I told her what I needed. 3 months, no calls, no messages, no contact at all. I said we both needed time to step back, figure out who we really were, and decide what we wanted. After those 3 months, we could talk again, but only if I was ready. This would happen on my timeline, not hers. I couldn't return the ring, so I honestly didn't know what to do with it. Maybe, if we never found our way back to each other, I would simply give it to her anyway. Kate told me that most of our mutual friends had turned against her after learning the truth. Many blocked her completely. Her parents were angry with her, and her younger sister hadn't spoken to her since the breakup. All I could say was, actions have consequences. Before leaving, I thanked her parents for everything they had done for me over the years and hugged both of them. Then I knocked on her little sister's door, thanked her for always being kind to me, hugged her as well, and walked away. I still had 4 months left on my apartment lease, but I was already thinking about moving somewhere else once it expired. That night, my only plan was to spend time with my good friend, Mr. Johnny Walker. Just for one night, I wanted to forget everything. Tomorrow, I would start rebuilding my life. Update. If everything had gone according to plan, I would have proposed to Kate that very night. Our first date had been on Leap Day, and I had planned to ask her to marry me exactly at midnight. We even hoped to get married on Leap Day the following year. Instead, everything fell apart. Final update. Thank you to everyone who reached out with support. It honestly meant more than you know. After my last post, I focused on putting my life back together. I kept very limited contact with my ex until about a week ago. And that's where the next part of this story begins. Over the next few months, I did exactly what I said I would do. I spent time reflecting on everything that had happened, continued seeing my therapist, and leaned on my friends to help me get back on my feet. Slowly, it started working. I reached the point where Kate wasn't the first thing on my mind every morning. I still had bad days, but I finally felt like I was getting my life back. For a while, I buried myself in work, but my therapist pointed out that I was using it as an escape. She told me it wasn't healthy, so I cut back and returned to a more normal schedule. From what I heard, Kate had also started therapy. She quit her job at the salon and left in a way that completely burned every bridge with her former coworkers. I admit I found that a little satisfying. She found a new job in a different field and planned to go back to school in the spring. Every now and then, she asked our mutual friends how I was doing. The ones who still spoke to her would simply tell her that I was doing well and getting on with my life. A few weeks after the breakup, I saw her by accident. She never noticed me, but I saw her. The woman standing there didn't look like the Kate I remembered. She looked exhausted, defeated, and emotionally drained. She was with a few friends, smiling and laughing, but I could tell it was fake. Seeing her like that honestly made me sad. I still have the engagement ring. It's locked away somewhere safe. I was able to modify the proposal box I built and gave it to a friend so he could use it instead. Someone suggested I sell the ring, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Overall, things were getting better. I planned to stick to the 3-month no-contact rule, but life had other ideas. We ended up seeing each other twice. The first time was at her younger sister's school play. Years ago, I had made her a pinky promise that I would be there, and you don't break a pinky promise. The second time was at a mutual friend's birthday party. We kept our distance, exchanged a little small talk, and blended in with everyone else. Then, about a week ago, everything changed again. For almost a month, I had been getting terrible migraines behind one of my eyes. Sometimes my vision became blurry, but I convinced myself it was just stress from everything that had happened. I ignored it. One afternoon, I was out shopping and walking around with 2 close friends. I wasn't feeling great, but I didn't want to ruin the day. According to them, I suddenly slowed down, stumbled, and almost fell face first onto the ground. One of them caught me. Then I had a seizure that lasted about a minute. Someone called an ambulance and I was rushed to the hospital. The doctors ran every test they could think of. Eventually, they found the cause. I have a brain tumor. I think they called it a glioma. The doctors believe they can remove it, but we're still waiting on a second opinion before deciding exactly when surgery will happen. Right now, I'm still in the hospital. As soon as my friends found out, they started calling everyone, including Kate and her family. They all came. When I woke up and heard the diagnosis, the first person I wanted to see was Kate. Over the past week, we've had some of the deepest conversations we've ever had. She's actually the only visitor I'm allowed to have right now. More than once, I've looked over and seen her asleep in the uncomfortable chair beside my bed. I honestly don't know what we are anymore. I still care about her. I still love her. The current plan is that when my apartment lease ends, I won't be renewing it. Her family invited me to move in with them while I recover so they can help take care of me. Since I won't be able to drive for a while after thinking about it for a long time, I accepted their offer. Honestly, I'm scared. I've already put my affairs in order in case the worst happens. Still, I know I have an incredible support system around me, and that's giving me hope. Thank you to everyone who has read my story this far. I truly hope all of you have an amazing day, week, month, year, and life. Please do me one favor. Tell the people you care about that you love them. Give them a hug for me. You never know what life is going to throw at you next. Thanks for all the nice comments, the advice, and even the game recommendations. I really appreciate it. A lot of people suggested The Sims, and even though I'm terrible at action games, I'll probably give it a try. The last action game I actually played was Resident Evil 4 on the PlayStation 2 years ago, mostly because I had a crush on Leon Kennedy. At least Leon would never cheat on me. Since a lot of people said they enjoy reading the complete messages in these stories, I decided to share part of the message I sent to my sister. The original was much longer, but I removed the parts where I talked about very personal things and most of the insults because I was extremely hurt and angry when I wrote it. I also translated it from Spanish, so sorry if it sounds a little awkward. The message started by telling her that I wasn't interested in hearing any excuses. When she had problems with her old group of friends, I believed her because I trusted she would never be capable of doing something like this. Now I finally understood why people always end up leaving her, and honestly, she deserved it. I told her what she did to me was disgusting, and she knew it. She spent an entire year sleeping with my boyfriend without feeling ashamed, and after I found out, she avoided talking to me for days because she was too much of a coward to face me. Then she suddenly wanted to apologize only after Dad stopped talking to her and stopped giving her money. To me, it looked like she only wanted to fix everything because she was running out of options. I asked her how little self-respect she had to become involved with her own sister's boyfriend. We're sisters, and I still can't understand what was going through her mind. Reading their messages made everything even worse. She compared our bodies, laughed while he insulted me, and even asked him personal questions about my relationship with him just so they could joke about me together. I reminded her that I had never done anything to deserve this. I loved her, trusted her, and always supported her, but none of that mattered to her. I told her she could keep him because I wasn't interested in fighting over someone like him. He would probably leave her eventually anyway. Then I made one thing perfectly clear. From that moment on, she was no longer my sister. If I ever saw her on the street again, I would cross to the other side just so I wouldn't have to look at her. Update. It didn't surprise anyone when they eventually broke up. After everything happened, my parents confronted my sister. She got offended and refused to speak to them unless she wanted money. She claimed she needed it for college expenses, but later my aunt told my parents she had actually used the money to buy my ex a new pair of sneakers. That was the last time my parents gave her money. The sad part is that my parents were already paying for both of us to attend a private college. The only thing she had to do was take her studies seriously, but she couldn't even manage that. Eventually, my father got tired of supporting her financially. My ex also saw my Reddit post after it started going viral on Facebook. He reached out to apologize and admitted he had hurt me. He claimed my sister manipulated him and that everything had been a mistake. I told him he could shove his apology. Since then, my sister and I have crossed paths only a few times. Every time she sees me, she avoids me because she thinks I'm going to hit her. I'm not. We're studying different majors, so luckily we don't have to see each other very often. A few days ago, she went to my parents' house crying because my ex had broken up with her. She told them she felt terrible and had been having anxiety attacks. I wasn't there, so I don't know the full conversation, but my mom later told me she reminded my sister that everyone knew this would happen the moment she decided to sleep with my boyfriend. My sister tried to defend herself by saying they were in love, which only led to another argument. She eventually left, and now she barely speaks to anyone in the family except our grandmother whenever she needs money. Final update. At this point, I honestly don't think my sister is ever going to change. I wouldn't even be surprised if she gets back together with my ex, because they're both toxic together. That's their problem now, not mine. The one good thing that came out of all this is that I managed to sell my computer to a Reddit user who had read my post. That helped me finish paying off the remaining installments. I never got to spend much time playing The Sims, but I definitely needed the money more. Ironically, my ex later asked if he could have the computer back. I told him that if he wanted it, all he had to do was pay off what was still owed. He said no. Apparently, sleeping with my sister wasn't enough. He expected to get my computer for free, too. I know this is probably a boring update. Most people were hoping to read about my sister begging for forgiveness, or my ex finally getting what he deserved, but that didn't happen. They're still just two idiots who deserve each other, and nothing that dramatic has happened. In fact, I even got another message today asking if there would be another update, so here it is. It's been a while since my last post, and a few things have happened. About a month ago, my sister contacted me from a different phone number. She told me one of her friends had seen my story in a video on Facebook. Apparently, it had even been translated into Spanish, which honestly made me laugh. That was the first time we had spoken since everything happened. She immediately started complaining that I hadn't even changed our ages or enough details, so her friend recognized the story right away. She also complained that I hadn't hidden our nationality. I told her I wasn't interested in hearing her complaints. If anything, she should be thankful I posted it anonymously instead of putting everything on my own Facebook account. She called me a terrible person and said I had made her look like a monster. Honestly, I don't regret it. Nobody reading those posts knows what she looks like, while I'm the one who had to live through everything she did. She kept demanding that I delete the posts, but I told her it was pointless. By then, the story had already spread everywhere. Then I blocked that number too. A few weeks after my previous update, she and my ex actually got back together. That didn't last very long. Now they're broken up again. People we both know keep telling me they constantly cheat on each other. Maybe they have an open relationship, maybe they don't. I honestly don't care enough to find out. They just keep seeing each other with different people at clubs. The only annoying part is that my sister suddenly started going to the same clubs I used to go to, even though she used to criticize me for liking those places. At the moment, they're not together, and my ex has been looking for excuses to contact me again. His latest excuse was returning some clothes I had left at his apartment. I didn't even want them back, but one day he showed up at my apartment without warning to return them. I didn't really have a choice, so I let him inside. We slept together. Just kidding. Absolutely not. I simply let him drop off the clothes, and that's it. After that, I realized I should probably tell my apartment manager not to let him into the building anymore. The whole visit was incredibly awkward. He kept reminding me that he and my sister were no longer together and repeatedly told me what an amazing woman I was. I told him I already knew my worth and had absolutely no interest in discussing his relationship with my sister. I do enjoy a little gossip, but not that much. So I politely told him to leave. Right before walking out, he actually tried to kiss me on the cheek. Yeah, no thanks. Meanwhile, my parents still don't know what to do with my sister. She has basically stopped going to college altogether. To be fair, she never cared much about her classes in the first place, and my parents are tired of wasting money on someone who refuses to make any effort. They warned her that if she keeps skipping school, they'll stop paying for her education completely. According to my mom, my sister doesn't believe them. She still thinks they'll eventually give her money again whenever she wants something. Honestly, my biggest fear now is that she'll get pregnant just so my parents feel obligated to support her again. As for me, I'm doing much better. The only thing I really miss is going to my favorite club, since I don't want to run into either of them. Emotionally, though, I've finally moved on. Now, whenever I hear another story about their latest drama, it doesn't affect me anymore. It honestly feels like I'm just watching two clowns make fools of themselves from a distance.